Hey, sports fans. Greg Medford, Medford Knife, MKT USA. Happy Hump Day. What's going on? So I did a little video about, let me flip this around so that you guys can not be annoyed by everything being backwards. I did a little video last week about equality, and that kind of, I don't know what happened. It got deleted. So I'm going to do the video again, and I'm going to talk about the great evil of equality. Before we do that, we'd like to take a short break and give a shout out to a fan who reached out to us. This is the Polished Edge. They're out in Malaysia. Let me see if I can get that right so you can see it. He's a knife sharpener from Malaysia, and along with Facebook's racist call, Facebook made a racist call for us to promote Pacific Islanders. I think they said they were, I got this little advance thing, they said they were going to do, they wanted us to reach out to, they wanted any pro-Negro businesses also. The hell? We're the Pacific Islanders. I don't even, isn't that a region? I don't even know if that's race. Maybe that's race. And then they were going to do a cracker call out next Tuesday. And then they were going to do a Monday Mexi shout out. They're really mixing it up over there at Facebook. They're super woke. They're so woke, they're racist, telling us not to be racist. Anyways, good times had by one and all. I wanted to talk today about equality because I shot a video and it got taken down. And I don't even know what happened. The video just disappeared. I got no warning. I got no, you can't post for a week. They didn't put me in Facebook jail. It's just gone. So I don't get it. There are certain phrases or words that when you hear them, you know trouble is a-coming. There's smoke on the horizon, if you will. We can talk about a few of these. One of the famous ones that Democrats use is, it's for the children. They say these things because conservatives have a tendency in the past, although our politicians not recently, to want to constrain and have a smaller government. So they say buzzwords that pull on your heartstring, and if you go against them, you feel like you're evil. And they can portray you as evil, like, oh, you're against children? So, no, I'm not against children. I don't think we should get rid of the military and spend 3/4 of the budget on daycare for children. I don't think we should do that. That doesn't mean I'm against children. It just means something. So they, in the face of no reason, in the face of no argument, and in the face of some sort of Marxist dogma that's being shoved through the system, basically, they have these catchphrases that they use to shut you up. One of them is, it's for the children. Another one is, if it saves even a single life, it's worth doing. That's another one. That says, I'm done arguing. I have no more ideas. I don't want to hear about your ideas. There's no more debating ideas. If it saves even one life, it's worth doing, which means even if it doesn't save a life, we're going to try because it might save one life. No matter how much money it wastes, no matter how much grind it takes. The other one is equality. And equality is a big bugaboo. So let's just talk about equality for a minute, okay? There are certain things we want equal, and there are other things we don't want equal. And we have to make sure that we don't confuse equal and fair and just. We don't want to confuse those three words any more than we want to confuse bias, prejudice, and racism. They're very different things. And if we just use them all interchangeably, we have departed what separates us from the monkey. It's the nuance of conversation which allows us to transmit ideas to each other. So let's just talk about equality for a minute. The false god of equality. Equality is actually evil. Equality is bad. Equality is not what you want. I don't care if you're a liberal or a conservative. You do not want equality. Fake. It's a lie. And your children know better. I'll give you some examples. We will cover that in a moment. Here's what we want. We want fairness under the law. The numbers in this country tell us that the country is fair and law enforcement is exceedingly fair. We want equal treatment from the government. We don't want the government picking certain groups of people to benefit. Even though it may benefit you this week, if they're allowed to do that, it will not benefit you when the next thing's popular. Your thing is only popular every now and then for a while, and then that issue fades and the next thing comes up. What we want out of our government is consistency and fair access to our government and fair treatment by the government. I want equal treatment before the law. That's what I want. That's it. I want equal opportunity to get licenses, to try things. I want equal treatment from the government when they find me, if they pursue me for something I've done wrong. We want equal treatment under the law, which provides equal access. I want banks to treat all people equal. If a black person qualifies for a loan, I want them to get the loan. That's been that way for a long time. What we don't want is people meddling with the social order and putting their thumb on the scale for one group or the other. Equal. We do not want people equal, though, because that phrase, that whole idea, it's communism. No, not all people are created equal. Not all people work an equal amount. Not all kids work an equal amount and get equal grades. That's natural. That's okay. We want equal treatment before the law. We want equal access to the government. We want equal opportunity. We want our public institutions and our private institutions, which are tethered to public funding, such as banks, to provide equal access, equal treatment, equal opportunity. Equal. Not one over the other. Ever. I want to stand on the merits of my efforts. All knives are not created equal. All lives are not created equal. Now, when you ask your kids about this, let's say you've got a kid that works really hard and gets straight A's, like my daughter or my son. They work really hard and get straight A's. And you ask them, are there other kids in class who don't get straight A's? And, oh, yes. Are there any kids who are close to failing? Oh, yeah, there's a couple kids. Or there's this one kid. And then you say, well, you know, what if the teacher's being evaluated by the government? And the teacher it's a knock against the teacher if they have kids failing in their class. So what they do is they say, hey, you know, Roxanne, Jack, you guys got straight A's, but you don't really need them. You're probably not going to go to Harvard. We like to give your A to that kid that was failing, and you just take a B, because B is pretty good. And that way they don't get an F, they get a D, or they don't get a D, they get a C. And that way as the teacher, I get a better rating. What do you think? And kids would be like, you're a little liberal kid up in Marin County? They'd be like, I don't know about that. Any place that still grades people on the merits of their efforts and the outcome, the kids don't want that. They know better. Everything you need to learn about your morality, you learn by second grade. It's true. Kids know better. You give them a really simple thing, and I say, oh, okay, well, listen, you know, Dad hasn't been around a lot. I missed a bunch of your Little League games. I come to the big ones, but I work a lot. I work an awful lot. I get in early. I'm sorry I don't get to make breakfast for you every day. And sometimes I'm still working when you get tucked in bed at night. But that's so we have this house. I can pay for school, and we don't have to rely on the government to give us some grant for you to go to college. And you don't see your dad very much. Another kid in class, his dad doesn't work that much. He sees his dad all the time. His dad's always playing catch with him in the park. He gets $2,000 a week in unemployment benefits. He gets all sorts of financial aid to help him out because they have low income. The wife's like, the wife works in some medical administration job. And the dad doesn't do much. He plays Mr. Mom. And they get a bunch of government support. So your dad gets taxed a bunch and is always gone working, and you don't get to see him very much, so that the government can give some of his money to your buddy whose dad's always hanging out at the park playing catch with him and the other kids. He's always out there having a smoke and playing catch. You ask a 6-year-old if you think that's fair. Ask a 10-year-old. Ask a 14-year-old if they think that's fair. Kids know better. That's exactly what's going on. So equality is a false god. We want things to be fair. We don't want people to end up equal. That's communism. It's impossible. That's not the way it is. So we'll see if this video gets taken down. When anyone uses the words equal, it is almost always the preamble to taking your money. It is almost always an illogical, it's a non-argument, emotional tug with a catchphrase word to get you to shut up so they can take something from someone and give it to someone else. So they can disincentivize good, productive humans and incentivize unproductive humans. You can break the whole world down in really simple terms in economics. Some of us are really productive and we make a big splash and get a lot done, and some of us don't. There's no changing that. It doesn't have to be that way, but it is that way. And no matter how much money any government has ever taken, it has never changed that. It's never changed that reality. So as you go out there today, as you push our ideas out into the world, we have to continue to have these arguments. And when you hear people say equal, you got to be really careful. And you got to really listen. Equal pay for equal work. Women don't get paid the same amount as men. Not true. You guys have to have that argument with them. And there are many reasons why. I will close today's rant with a quote. I believe it was Mark Twain. He says there's lying, there's damn lying, and then there's statistics. The thing about statistics is most people have not actually studied statistics. In school, it is it's a really challenging class. For those of us who have minors in mathematics, statistics might, for many of us, be one of the toughest classes we did. A lot of times it's a bell curve class because a lot of people just don't pass. The thing about statistics is that they're very much like icebergs. They present on first view a certain look. And then when you dive deeper, you start to see a life and a nuance. And it's almost always different than the first little appearance. It's called second set statistical analysis or subset analysis. So, been a long time. Been a long time, but I remember us getting these statistical sets, and we were to come up with these summaries of what our analysis was and present them before the class. And then we did this subset analysis of the statistics. And all of a sudden, and then now come up with your summary again, and they were in contretemps almost always. So it makes it all it did is it kind of, it cracks your egg about any number anybody throws at you. Because you go, okay, is that first or second set? Is that a sub-analysis, or is that the overall? What's the conclusion? You know, in statistics, you find out that you can pick any level of analysis and tell a lot of different stories. And the truth requires kind of a deeper dive. So I would be really skeptical of anyone who says anything's not equal in this country. The only thing that I know that's not equal that really frustrates me is equality before the law with the uber wealthy and all the rest of us. And it's not a black thing or a white thing. It's a poor thing, it's a middle class thing, and it's a rich guy thing. And that's what you got to find a way to balance out. And that's what I'm always decrying. I'm decrying inequity before the law. Because if there's equality, it all works out. Equality of treatment, equality of access, equality of potential. But the outcome is up to you. Amy, what's going on?
I was just going to tell you, I'll have the first USMC fighter flipper.
Oh, you're going to have it today? Do you want me to do a little video on it later? This is the one you came up with? You guys, Amy came up. Why don't you poke in and say hi to everybody? Does it look weird? Because it's I have it so that the words aren't backwards.
It's shinier.
I think it's because it's tilted down and your head's catching some light. So Amy came up with an idea for the USMC fighter flipper. She's dressing it like a Marine. Tell us a little bit about what it is, Ames.
Okay, so there we go. We did dark blue on the handles to mimic the pants. The spacer was anodized red for the red stripe down the dressed blues. The blade is black. There's no really kind of getting around that.
Sure.
Pommel is black. And then the pivots and the clip will be brushed bronze. And then I think we're thinking about offering the ribbon and the fuller or something, whatever.
I'm getting excited right now. So, yeah, I'm getting excited. I can't wait to see these because as a Marine, I'm like a greyhound who sees a rabbit going by. Anything Marine, I'm like, what's that? Squirrel.
Yeah, it's going to be bitchin'. I should have the first one done today just so you can start.
Awesome.
And there won't be many of them. So.
There won't be many. It will be a few and far between.
Yeah. So.
Thanks for that little preview, Amy. These are the people in your neighborhood. In your neighborhood. In your neighborhood. Well, thanks, Amy. Thanks for stopping by. Anytime. Oh, my God, you guys. I just got a hole popper in, which uses EDM plunge technology to put holes in sheets of material so that I can put on my new Mitsubishi wire EDM. And they kind of work together. We have a 4-station, 4-wire EDM center that's popping to life here in the shop for our new company, the ASK Knife Company. We've got our burger hollow grinder here, getting power put to it this week. Our flat grinders showing up in the next 60 days. I have 2 new Haas VF2 Super Speeds coming in down at the end of the machine shop. I think they told me between the 10th and the 12th. We've got our first injection molding tool getting made here in town. It is not collaborative. There's not one friggin' piece of it made in China. So we'll start injection molding for our ASK Knife brand, which will all be done here in Phoenix. I got my titanium stamp samples from a stamping house here in town, the only stamping house in Arizona. So they're going to be doing our blanking of our liners for our ASK Knife Company. So the liners and the injection molded handles will be made here in Phoenix. The screws will be sourced around the United States, some in Europe, some in South Korea, some in Taiwan, 0 in China. And all the hardware will be titanium. All of the tools will be titanium. We have a new Okamoto showing up with a vacuum table on it. I'm supposed to get somewhere around July 15th. So that will be the last tool in our new quasi-production line for the ASK Knife Company. I hope you guys like what I've come up with. I think it's a really cool, it speaks to American pragmatism and simplicity and excellent materials with a beautiful finish. But the source, Drew, you're wrong. But the stuff sourced in other areas came from China. No, nothing comes from China. Nothing. 0. Don't even say stuff like that. I couldn't have been more clear. There's nothing coming from China. Zero. I have to live, I can't live in my own dead USA bubble. I have to live in a bubble that's aware of the world. And I have to support the people that align with my ideologies and our American ethos. So I don't mind doing business with folks who are good global neighbors. Especially if my American neighbors don't want to work because they all like aerospace. But what I can't do is I can't do anything out of China. I'm not racist against Chinese people. I don't particularly like the Chinese population or the government they support. But you know, the folks in Taiwan, they say they're Taiwanese. And they would take great offense at this, but if I was going to be racist against Chinese, I'd be racist against Taiwanese, Koreans, and Japanese. And I'm not. What I am is I am biased against dirty, rotten commies. Because the only good commie in my world is a dead commie. So what are you going to do? Okay, back to the scheduled program. The ASK site is coming together at the house. It's pretty cool. I've got I hired a new guy to jump in and get up to speed on the ASK process. He's a friend of mine's son. I think he's going to be a great addition to the team. As the ASK comes to life, I hope you take a chance to look at it and see if it's something interesting that complements your knife universe. I've been thinking about knives so much over the last 10 years. I think about now primary knife and companion knife. I think about a knife to complement my main everyday carry. So I've got all these things that have kind of crashed into my consciousness to be the zeitgeist for this ASK company. So I hope you guys dig it. And ASK is an acronym for American Service Knife. Yeah. And you'll see it pop up soon. It'll be at americasknife.com. And we don't have that up live yet. It's fucking cool. And we're still working on functionality and the ability to customize your knife a little bit. We're going to do some things with this knife in its total composition that hasn't been done before. Everybody's made bottle openers before and screwdrivers before and all of those things. I thought about the things that I use a knife for improvisationally out in the field when I'm camping, motorcycling, aviating, the things that I do. And I like, what are the tools? And I wrote down all the tools you might, and what are the ones I would be most likely to use? And I narrowed the whole company down into those. So we're not trying to be everything to all people. We're trying to be the most usable and flexible. And the whole concept is, what good does a knife with 47 tools and options get you? What good does it do you if it's back in your car, if it's in your glove box, if it's in your go bag sitting in your garage? What good does it do you? We want you to carry it every day. All right. Well, that's it. That's my Wednesday hump day hullabaloo with you guys. Have a fantastic day. Go over to this guy on Instagram, The Polished Edge. Say hi to him. He sent me a really nice letter. I get so many nice letters, I don't want to read them to you guys because, one, they make me a little bashful. I get a little shy. And two, I feel if I read them, I'm sometimes betraying people's trust. Three, I always am going to choke up when I go to read that stuff. And I just don't feel comfortable choking up on everybody. I feel like it could come off as insincere. So I kind of have this veneer, and the flip side of this veneer, and I have this veneer my whole life. The flip side of this veneer is I will help somebody in the drop of a hat, and I'm right on the edge of emotional, choking up and getting teary-eyed, just almost all the time. I think if you're this raw, the compliment to it is that you're emotionally pretty raw and receptive. And I think that's the other side of the pancake with me, my friends. Have an awesome Wednesday. I don't know. Keep your ear to the railroad tracks for someone saying equal. Equal. Equal is the big Marxist lie.